Good morning.
Good morning. How are
I
you?
I put on earrings to make myself feel more put together this
So
morning.
fancy.
I'm in like my fall cleanup and then nice gold earrings just to make me
I
feel a
like
little
it.
more
Hey,
fancy.
we are all these things.
Right. Oh my gosh. I one of my favorite things about working in the yard and doing horticulture is the ability to be focusing on one thing and getting the job done, but then having these breakthroughs and like these ideas for conversations. And, this is the same when I go for a run or you're going out for a walk. It's like you're preoccupying your logical brain and it's like in destination mode. And so it allows your subconscious to go into this theta and you're like, oh, I get it. I can see when people are in and out of that theta phase, and in my coaching I utilize that to ask questions and to allow you to go through your transformation, because when we are able to instill it ourselves on a subconscious level, it's like cha-ching. It's more awareness and more, it like solidifies it as a neural pathway. And
Mm,
I saw this with you this week when you were out for your walk, and I want to address this
yeah.
because when I was out gardening, I'm like, I don't think coaches understand that our challenges with pricing is a big old fat money block.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a sticky one.
It's super sticky. And I think I mean, at this point, I just feel like everybody has worked on their money blocks,
Mhm.
and yet they're still there.
Yeah, like like I say, like there's a difference between knowing and understanding. So when
Yeah.
you really truly know something on a deep level, on a core level, then you can demonstrate it in your circumstances, in your life, and in your business. And it makes such a huge impact. And while you had an amazingly successful launch, just the ability to step into these internal paradigm shifts around what pricing is, how it's representational of the people that you're attracting, where that takes place, and like knowing your own value and valuing that value. But this beautiful dance between I value my value, I know I'm creating transformation in the world, but then also, if I don't have an aligned price, it's not calling my clients into action. And there's that beautiful dynamic of understanding that the difference between pricing something out of compassion yet lack of self-value,
Yeah.
and pricing something out of knowing my value and still making it affordable to people.
Yeah, there's a discernment piece, like where is it coming from? I mean, it makes so much sense. And I think that there's also this projection piece, and this is where the money block is, right? It's like putting our own putting our own story on all of our potential clients. And it does everyone a disservice. I mean, we have no, like, a money block for one person might be like, oh, I can't spend this $50,000 today, right? And for the next person, it's like, I can't spend this $50 today. But if we just make this assumption that no one can afford the price that actually we know the program is, I think that we don't get clients because our subconscious is blocking it. Our
Mhm.
subconscious is like, no, you're not going to do all that work for such little money. Of course, you're not going to do it. So then you don't share it and you don't post it. I mean, I kind of feel like it was miraculous how many amazing clients I've gotten into my programs, because I see it now. That's been going on in the background. I've barely promoted anything. And I think it's actually because my pricing is not in alignment with the value that I'm giving.
Are
It's
you
basically,
saying that you had more people sign up because it wasn't in alignment,
I
or it
I'm saying
hadn't
it was like
been?
some sort of miracle. I think maybe this amount of people came in like the universe gifted me with this opportunity to understand the value of what I bring. But
Ooh,
I, do you know what I mean? But I
but
think for years I was not getting clients in my low ticket things.
I remember when before E10X started, or maybe it was after you like early enrolled in E10X. And I remember you had your 50K launch, right? And the whole time I'm like, you're going to hit 50. And you're like, I don't think so. I really like this, right? Like you were back there uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to commit to that because you had this, like, I could tell you had this internal fear that you might not hit it. This is a problem
Mhm,
of goal,
mhm.
like setting goals or intentions or whatever, and that fear of not hitting it because you haven't hit it before. Um, but I remember when you closed the door and you had gone beyond your expectations, and all of a sudden, all these stories started coming up, and you're like, I'm not going to be able to do it again, or I don't know. Like all of a sudden, it
Everything.
was
It
like
was a
this.
one-off. It was a miracle.
That's what you kept saying,
Yeah,
right? And it's
yeah.
like, no, no, no. I do think that Um, and this is all of business, like this is straight up business strategy. What you do now is going to affect the outcome 90 days from now. That's why we work in quarters, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
what you had been doing, and it's not about the amount of shit you're doing. It's about the alignment of it.
Yeah,
And it's not about the numbers in your Facebook group or email addresses. It's about the alignment of those prospects. And that showed in this.
yeah,
And now you can see, like, through the work that you've done since that launch, like the possibilities, the endless possibilities, and the alignment of your client journey and where you can take that. And it's so amazing. What do you think the biggest subconscious shift was that you had to make to be able to see the proper aligned pricing for your products?
I think part of it was unraveling the projection of, like all my money story on other people, and like I was just making assumptions about what people can afford and what couldn't afford and what they couldn't afford. But I think the big turning point, like this big aha that I just had, that I feel like I'm never, it's not like I'm never going back to low ticket. I think there's absolutely a place for really affordable offers. And I'm not saying I'm now going to charge $100,000 to calibrate to my energy, right? Like, but the big aha for me is that I have not been calling people forth with my pricing. As a leader, like I know how I lead within my groups, within my programs. I'm so confident with that. Like that's where I really shine. But I've been feeling like with my pricing, I haven't been leading myself. And I think that there's actually a leadership piece with your pricing as well. To call forth the people who are really, it's not like, oh, I have the money to commit, though I do believe that we should make investments based on what we actually can afford. I don't like this whole
Yes.
go take out a loan for your coaching program. I don't like
Yeah.
that
I
personally. I
don't
think it's
either.
icky, but there's a level of commitment that is not called forth when someone can kind of piss away the money they spend on a program.
You know, I don't in since I started hiring coaches, my very first coach um was 12,000, and I had a payment plan.
Yeah.
And ever since then, my perception and I've always been able to identify and pick coaches based on where my gaps were.
Mm.
And um except for one.
We all have that one, my friend.
Yeah, and she was way not in alignment. Like, and we'll talk about this too on one of the episodes, but I was able to like I look at it and I'm like, oh, like when I first started for like probably the first 7 years, I didn't hire a coach that was under $3,500.
Mm.
Like it never came into my realm. And also the amount of time that I spent with them. So it was always like based on, oh, and I I think that there's this beauty between industry standards and then valuing your values. So I would look at them and I'm like, oh, a 3 month program or a 4 month program for $3,500. That wraps up nicely, right? A
Mhm.
$3,500 transformation in 3 months. Perfect, right?
Mhm.
I did join a program, and this was the one that was totally out of alignment, that was 18 for 12 months, or yeah, 18K for 12 months or something
Mhm.
like that. Maybe it was 25 for 12 months. I can't
Mhm.
remember.
Mhm. Mhm.
First off, I learned a lot of valuable lessons. Like, I can't stand if I'm going to work with a coach for the very first time, I never want it to be for a 12-month period. I have
Learned
re-signed
that
with
lesson
coaches.
myself. Yep.
I've re-signed with coaches that were in alignment, and I wanted to continue my journey for a year at a time. And that worked out well. But first time coaching programs, 12 months, girl, oh, it was, oh, terrible. But what I've learned through this, and there is a point to all this, affordable and high ticket is 100% subjective. So while I do not see $3,500 as high ticket, there are people out there that do see that.
Mhm.
And I also know that the price of your program does not dictate your income. So
Mhm.
just because you have a
Yeah.
8K or 30 or 10K product, because I have had those in the past, did not dictate my annual income. And there's this philosophy that it takes just as much work to sell a 10K product that it does a, 2K. It's absolutely true. But when you're marketing a group program and you're not selling eyeball to eyeball, then that philosophy doesn't jam,
Mm. Mhm.
right? Because you're selling the transformation, you're marketing to more than one person at once.
Mhm.
And if you're doing that call, that one-on-one call for those people that are like, yeah, I need to see if this $3,000 is really aligned with me, it's okay, right? It's fine. Not everyone's going to get on that call because not everyone perceives that $3,500 investment as high ticket.
Right.
So they're like, oh, yeah, that's a no-brainer, right? Like, I never have to get on a call for, I rarely have to get on a discovery call, right? And I'm like, unless it's like I'm working one-on-one with somebody and then I'm like, yeah, let's do this because it's higher. I just want the confidence to know that last final boom.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I've noticed lately? Like I love making sales pages. Like I just enjoy it as a like it's fun and it's designed. It's also an energy suck because I can like just stay on it forever. I don't read sales pages.
I
I
never do.
don't read them. I don't read them. And my greatest investments, the investments that I have gotten the greatest return from in all ways, not just financial return, have been the programs that I actually didn't know why I said yes. I just knew that I had to. I just knew that I had to.
So, the personality profile disc,
I,
DISC.
I don't know that one.
I imagine that so I'm a DI on
Okay.
this scale. And so when you look at sales pages, there's a way to format them to get like you're attracting in different, like a real, not like our Black Friday sales page, but like
Hmm.
a real sales page,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? Like, and so D's, which is me, and you, I imagine, because I never read the sales page. I'm like, so that's why we put the button above the fold for those people that are like, yes, this is mine. I want to immediately purchase it. Send me to the link where I buy. And then the eyes, those are more, they get FOMO. They want to know, like, how is it attracting people? Like, what
Hmm.
is it changing for people? What are like that. So immediately, even if you go to my Black Friday post, the wait list is above the fold. And then the
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
next thing is a testimonial because those people want to see the testimonial. But
Yeah.
as we go DISC,
Hmm.
those very bottom ones, like the S is going to be like, I want to read all the testimonials. I'm going to skim through what it is. But
Hmm.
C's, those people will read the entire sales page down to the terms and conditions. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, God, what must that be like? And I've worked with those people, so I
Hmm.
get it. It also makes me think of the people that are big picture, because that's me. Big
Yeah,
picture,
yeah,
like
yeah.
detail oriented, no. And when you start talking about yesterday when we were having the conversation and you're saying like audits and stuff, and I'm like, oh, automatically details. No, I start cringing. I'm like, no. Um, that was a tangent. I just
I love, you know what's interesting? I am a big picture person, but I love the details. It's actually part of my success codex genius is I sort through the details and
oh,
quintessentialize it. I synthesize it into what's important. I love details, but I don't make decisions based on little picture. I make decisions based on big picture.
yeah.
It's funny. I've done like all of these, so many tests, like right brain, left brain, masculine, feminine. I am 50-50 all the time. So I do feel like I have a good blend of both. But here's one thing that I've noticed lately. Speaking of tangents, we're going on a tangent now, my
Let's
friend.
do it.
Um, I have noticed that when I'm at a growth edge, my logical brain overrides my deeper knowing.
Yeah. You know why?
So I
So
cannot
in
change, I'm guessing.
so yeah, so in my program when I talk about disintegration anxiety, it's when everything that you believe to be true you are beginning to realize that it's all made up, right? And so you're
Yeah.
like, shit. So all of these opinions that our brain has formulated, and especially like when I start thinking about fear, and this goes
Mm.
like a lot around money because we're taught money is safety, money is going to help us, create the dream life and all this. And so when we start getting on that urge of success, or when we start realizing that everything that we have been taught, it does not pertain, our brain is going to do every single thing to keep us there. But here's the thing, it's not your logical brain, it's your subconscious triggering logical thoughts.
Mm, mm.
So it's
Okay.
a belief
Yep. No, no, no.
system that
I
your
get it.
subconscious has installed to make you believe that what you perceive is 100% true. So it won't move you forward. So it's telling you very logical, realistic things to keep you preoccupied
Mm.
so that you'll create self-doubt. Like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe it isn't right for me.
I will
Maybe.
tell you something. Now that I have the, you know how, like, just like you said, it's like there's a difference between knowing and understanding. I
Mhm.
always say, you can know something or you can know it. And
Yeah.
and I know now, I see my patterns in a way that I have never seen them before. And I feel the shift. Like I can be a witness to that all of a sudden that subconscious pattern, I mean, as best as possible, right? Like clicking in those logical thoughts, I can be a witness to it now and not identified with it. Whereas
Mm.
for the longest time, that was just my reality. You couldn't tell me that I was wrong. You couldn't tell me that I was making that up.
Do you remember before E10, before you joined E10X, and you would be talking to me like on Telegraph or something, and you would go into these dialogues with yourself, and then you're like, even
Sounds like me.
saying it, I hear all the stories.
Yes, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
even, and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, yeah, don't worry, make a list. We'll address all that. Yeah, I know, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's yeah, there's so much, I think that most mindset coaches out there focus on the awareness, but they don't have the key to addressing how to like debunk them. And the thing is it's not even work. It's not like once you
No.
know the method, it's just like,
No.
oh, I don't believe that anymore.
Yeah.
It's
That's what
not part
I've
of me.
learned through E10X and through the 5D prosperity
Prosperity.
process.
Isn't
It's
5D
like to me,
prosperity like freaking on fire?
yeah.
So those of you that are listening to this don't know what it is, but it is going to be on my Black Friday. But the one thing that I haven't added that I will add is I call it the cyclone. So at the very end, and I'll tell you how it works, and you can just do it, start doing it right now. Once
Mm.
you finish all 9 recognitions,
Hmm.
you turn it into a cyclone. So then you sit in your hypnosis and you say the first one, second one, third one, fourth one in a row. And then when you get to the end of the ninth, you start again. So
Mm.
instead of last staying on the first recognition for a while and then the second, you just turn it
Hmm.
into a cyclone. Boom.
Yeah, that makes sense to me because I feel like they all flow into each other.
Right?
All the
And
recognitions, yeah.
then after that, normally, some people are like ready to move on within 12 months, some people sooner, but then you drop all of them and you go into the ultimates, and then it's like brah, 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 brah. You know what, when you are talking about like you can feel the shift, it made me think about when you go through those transformations and you literally can feel your brain like pulse.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
miss that sometimes,
Wow. I know. When you've when you've done a lot of this work,
right?
I don't know if they don't come as frequently, but like, yeah, I know that feeling that it is like a bit of an aha. To me, it feels I literally feel like my cells rewire. That's what
Yeah.
it feels like for me. It's very much in my body. There's a whole, like my spine readjusts, and I feel like my DNA is recalibrating to something else.
I always felt like literally my physical brain would expand and create more white space
Ooh, I just got the chills picturing that.
because it's like it's restructuring your neural pathways. So I'm just having this realization. So back then, when I was rapidly, like when I first started this work and I was rapidly moving through all of these um, new concepts and paradigm shifts, my brain was literally restructuring new neural pathways, which would create a dynamic feeling within it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a physical thing in
Yeah,
this
no, I get
3D.
it. I think especially with your sensitivity, like your sensitivity level, you could perceive it. I wonder how many other people perceive that. In fact, make a comment on this
Yeah.
podcast
Well,
and
how
let
do
us
you
know
feel
when
these
you have your
transformations?
ahas. Do you feel your brain restructure? We want to know.
Or like your spine or whatever.
Mhm.
Like it's a physical manifestation of those core level knowings. Like it's a sign that you're getting it on a core level.
Mm.
I love that.
I love that. I can even imagine like having a daily practice where you tap into that sensation, where you're just tapping into that sensation.
Yeah. And I think and I'm going to say this in complete modesty, y'all. I'm not like saying it because I'm like, oh, look at me. I'm so superpower. Because we all have the capabilities to grow and expand beyond in ways that we never thought possible. But I mean, if you talk to the Lynn Louise from like 7 years ago,
Mm.
I, I don't recognize her. Like she is so like crazy. She's so much more cosmic now. And when I think about my deep core level knowings and where I'm at right now, I'm not shocked by them. It's not like this, oh, it's like, yeah, I get it. It's like, oh, your body's finally catching up. Oh, Lynn Louise, you're just so cute and precious. It's so fun to watch it. And my higher self is like, ah, yeah, she finally got it, right? So I don't have my physical body doesn't have like the same repercussions of when I first started to, but it's so
Sure.
much fun.
Sure.
Sometimes when you are witnessing your physical body, I always want to ask people because not everyone gets this. Like you look at your hands and you're like, wow. Like they're not yours, but they're yours. Like,
Yes.
when I say you don't have a higher self, You are your higher self. You have a body. And when you're looking at your physical body through your physical eyes, but you're looking at it through your higher self, through your luminous self, and
Mm.
you're like, this is so cute. Like this little thing that I came in with. Like it's yours, but it's not yours. And then you realize that it's all just energy and that it's like the physical being is only determined by your own perception. And then I start going, can I stick my hand through this one? Can I walk through doors yet? Am I able to do that yet?
I am always on that edge of like, I think I'm getting the quantum science, but I still can't walk through walls, damn it.
I-
Someday, someday. But I do. I
Yep.
think like, can I shift things? Like and how, like, can we? Like, what's the level of certainty, right? We can, right? So what's the level of certainty that we need in order
Okay,
to be
so
able
I'll
to?
take it like the whole thing is collapsing timelines, right? Like people say glitches in the matrix or whatever, but
Mhm.
really it's like the ability to walk through a doorway and understand that you can collapse a timeline within that doorway, and what's on the other side of that doorway is something that you perceive.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, I think about when I shared the two glass timeline collapsing system with you. If anyone wants it, comment below, comment in the comments or get in the group or whatever and ask. But I remember, like, I gave you that ritual and you believed it to be true. And like within seconds, what you
It was a
desired happened.
day later, everything changed. It was the next day. It was the next day.
Right. And it's like this practice. So I work a lot in dream time, and it's like this practice of going to bed. I always tell people like we are more ourselves in dream time than we are in our human state, right? So we can do all this unbelievable work. And I love like going into dream time and not only working with myself, but working with clients that ask me to do dream time like that and
Mhm.
help them get through stuff and like all this. And then you can literally go to sleep and then wake up the next day and everything is different.
Mm. Okay, time for you to create a program on that.
I know. Well, that's why, okay. So
That's what all
why,
this cosmic stuff is, right? It's
right?
like,
This
where's
is
that?
why,
Yeah.
like, in order to be there, right? Like, in order to be able to start doing that work, you have to get through E10X first.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And so that's why I'm like, I want a certain amount of women that are re-signing so that I can take those first 35 and we can start going into dream time. We can start working in telepathy and business telepathy ethically, right? And being able to tap into these energies and these ley lines and universal chakra systems and stuff to create that dynamic transformation
Mm.
as a community and also for ourselves,
Hmm.
right? And we have the ability to do this outside of linear time and this construct that we only have ability to keep attention within this physical body. No, I have like right now, I'm like helping people in second attention, not one person, multiple people's and
Yeah.
what they're doing. And this is something that I practice within my hypnosis practice, but I want to be able to bring that within my E10X community and really start expanding that. But in order to do that, and I'm not saying this to call you out, but like there are so many women out there that were where you were at that are so cosmic and have done so much work and are ready and prime, right? And
Hmm.
then step into E10X and go, I thought I had done the work. Now I have done the
Oh,
work.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
now it's time to go further. You know what I
definitely.
mean?
I completely understand. You know what I think the difference is? I think that, okay, I don't want to make a blanket statement about myself because I think it's I'll say partially true. There was a part of me that was convinced that I was moving towards that, like, do your money work, do your subconscious work, where I'm like, yes, I'm ready. But actually, I still wanted something like outside of myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was still
A
seeking
strategy.
something, I was still reaching. Where I'm at right now, it really is completely different. There is no neediness, there's no desperation, there's no trying. I think that that energy of like lack and scarcity and maybe wanting to be saved or wanting some magic pill, I think it actually stops our ability to have the results that we want. And so we can do all the work, we can be doing all of the work, and it doesn't really work.
It's like um the Lynn Louise from 5, 7 years ago, if
Mhm.
she would have had a reading done with you back then,
Mhm.
she would have been looking at that as the solution instead of an element,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
so now when I did the Success Codex reading, and you're like, first, it was so much freaking fun. And that the fun factor for me, it's always fun factor.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was able to hear, oh, like this is how Venus plays into my business, and this is how people see me. And this is when I'm operating in my strength and where I can really connect with people compassionately. And oh,
Mhm.
this is kind of the shadow side. And it's like being able to look at me, being able to step back and look at this human form, right? Like, oh, this physical life. And this is how this chart and success codex plays out in my life, instead of being like, this is what needs to be done, and this is how I need to do it. And this is
Right.
like, this is the component. I need to talk about this all the time. I need to do it this, right? It's like,
Right.
oh no, my physical
Yes.
body can play around with
Oh
this.
my gosh, exactly. Like it's a tool. And it's so funny. I just did a training in my Success Codex reader training about that this week. Like just the reminder that none of these systems and none of your coaches and none of these programs are your authority. And even if there's a bit of us making that thing our authority, well, now I have to go do that because that's what it says, or this is my one answer. So our power comes from within. We can
Yes.
use so many beautiful things as tools of remembering who we are. But there's no program that's going to cause, like, elicit or inspire a transformation that's from the outside. It just doesn't
Mm-mm.
work that way.
I
We have events that can catalyze us, but the transformation still comes inside. The growth still comes from the inside. And we want it to be on the outside because I think it's easier. It doesn't work
Plus,
as
we've been
well.
taught that.
We have been taught that. We have
That
been.
things give us power. We've been taught to idolize people with a lot of money, admire them. And we're going to close down this episode with this, because I want to do another episode, and it's going to be the next episode. Let's talk about how seeing people with money and admiring people with money has created this decision making that has taken our personal power away
Mm,
from us.
let's do it.
And that there's a lot of coaches out there that know how to do really good marketing, but are not good teachers, but are influencing us through the price and the amount of money that they make.
Don't get me started. Okay,
We're going to
we're gonna
start
do this
here. Let's
this
do it.
episode,
Let's do
friends.
for the next episode. So I hope everyone has enjoyed this. Please like and follow this. Make comments on YouTube. We can come in and answer them. If you have any questions, feel free to email us, reach out to us, because who knows, we could take that question and create an episode specifically around that. So I hope y'all have a great week, and talk to you later.
Bye.